my name is Wendy Ivy Martinez. I am a geek, and today we're going to be talking about the books that I want to read for the rest of 2023. It is the end of September, we have October, we have November, and we have December. So I have quite a few books here that I want to read. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so first, let's start off with a Kindle book. The first book that I really want to read, because it is also the month of October pick for my real book club, the Smut Slut book club, it is Haunting Adeline by H.D. Carlton. This is a dark romance. This is going to be, I think it's going to be my first dark romance. Don't know if I'm going to like this one, but this one is basically about a girl who is being stalked by this creepy handsome guy, I guess, and he will not stop until she falls in love with him. So she ends up falling in love with her stalker. So it is a stalker romance, and I don't know, everyone says that it's so good. It's like 600 pages long, you guys. It's super long, but I mean, it seems intriguing, right? Yeah, it seems interesting. So there is Haunting Adeline by H.D. Carlton. The next book that I want to read is a book that hasn't come out yet. It is Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. It is the second book to the Fourth Wing series. Fourth Wing was not just my favorite read of the year so far, but it is my favorite read of all time. It is the best book that I have ever read. I have not obsessed over a book like this in so long, and I still to this day, even after like a couple months of me reading it, I still think about it each and every single day. This book was just phenomenal. Okay, it was just amazing. It had everything. It had dragons, it had fantasy, it had romance, it had everything that you can possibly love in a book. It had enemies to lovers, and who doesn't like enemies to lovers? Okay, that was like my favorite book trope. And it has very slow burn enemies to lovers, okay? Slow burn enemies to lovers, like the ultimate romance combo. And Iron Flame follows that story. I don't want to give too much away about, in case you haven't read Fourth Wing, but it follows the same characters. We have Violet, and it's basically her going into her second year of Basgiath War College / the Fourth Wing Dragon College. Alright, now I want to move on to some manga that I want to read for this year. So I just read Orange Volume 1, and I ended up getting Volume 2, and then the future volume, just because this book was amazing. Okay, Fourth Wing took top tier for this year. This is coming in second. This story is basically about a girl, and she is entering her high school years. I think she's in 11th grade, and she's walking into her classroom when she opens up a letter from her future self 10 years in the future. And at first she shrugs it off. She's like, okay, this must be a prank. This can't be real, until she opens up the letter, and in the letter it says, today you are going to get a new transfer student. His name is going to be blah blah blah, and he's going to be transferring from Tokyo. And as soon as she reads that part, her teacher introduces the new student, who is, well, in fact, a new transfer student, and the name matches the name that is on the letter, and he is a transfer student from Tokyo. And on the letter she says, you have to follow everything that I tell you to, because if not, this boy will be dead by the end of the year, and only you can save him. It's so beautiful. The first volume was amazing. It made you feel it's so beautiful. Like, it made you feel love and heartbreak, and it was so captivating. I could not put it down. So as soon as I finished it, I still kept thinking about it, and I'm like, okay, you know what? I wasn't planning on finishing the whole collection yet, but I have no choice. I needed to get it, so I got the last 2 volumes, because there is no way that I cannot finish the story pronto because I was absolutely obsessed. As good as the premise is, that is how good the story is, okay? So if you guys enjoy that premise and you guys enjoy manga, or you want to give manga a try, definitely check out this series because it was just so heartfelt, very slice of life, very beautiful. I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed. Okay, so let's talk about a few Junji Ito mangas that I really want to read this year. The first one is Tomie. I finished quite a few of Junji Ito's stories. I am a huge fan of Junji Ito. We are introduced to Tomie in a few of his short story collections, so I am very familiar with who she is. And I read this halfway and then I stopped, and I think that was my bookmark. And then I stopped and I never picked it up again. But basically this follows Tomie, who is a very famous character in Junji Ito's series. She is basically a girl who is bewitching and beautiful, and she can make any man fall in love with her, but she is absolutely evil to the point where the men love her so much that they ultimately kill her, and then she comes back again. Basically, she is this girl that gets killed time and time again and still comes back over and over and over again and just creates chaos and destruction everywhere she goes. So this is her complete storybook that has pretty much every story, including Tomie. Tomie is a character that you love to hate. You know, like, I absolutely love her, but I absolutely love to hate her as well. And it's just amazing. It's just amazing. The next Junji Ito book that I want to read is one that I haven't purchased yet, even though it is out, and that is Soichi. And that is Soichi's complete storybook. So Soichi is also a very iconic character in the Junji Ito series. He is this young boy who likes to curse people, and he likes to have nails in his mouth, and he's just a very interesting, quirky character. He's very lovable in a very, like, dark sort of way, I guess you can say. So that's another one. Alright, so now let's talk about some books that I want to read. Actual books that I want to read for the rest of 2023. The first one that I want to read is The Whispering Dead by Darcy Coates. So I had this on my TBR a couple months ago. I didn't get the chance to get to it, but I really do want to get to it hopefully by October. I'm very excited to read this. I read The Haunting of Ashburn House by her, and it was so good. I think I rated it 4 out of 5 stars. Darcy Coates seems to write very creepy horror where it's not like bone-chilling, terrifying, like I can't sleep, but to the point where it still gives you like a nice little spook, you know? This is a series. There's 3 so far, and the 4th one's coming out next year, and it is about this girl who goes to a groundskeeper's home, or starts living in a groundskeeper's home, and then she starts hearing voices, and then there's this ghost, or I want to say it's either a ghost or like a zombie-ish creature that starts haunting her, and that's all I know. So there's that one. Okay, the next one is another Darcy Coates book. It is The Carrow Hunt, and this book basically is about she's like a tour guide. Her name is Remy, and she is a tour guide, and she is so excited about this position. She's always wanted it, especially because she strongly believes in the supernatural. She gets the opportunity to host these like researchers for a week-long stay at this facility, the Carrow House. I believe, yeah, the Carrow House. And she is super excited. Things become very dark and very disturbing because this Carrow House is haunted by a very notorious serial killer, and it seems that he's still there and he still has a thirst for blood. I made it seem like he's a vampire. I don't think it's a vampire. He's a ghost. But you know what I mean. You know what I mean. The next book that I want to read is a collection of short stories. It is called Dangers of Smoking in Bed by Mariana Enriquez. Yeah, this is another Argentinian book. This one was shortlisted for the International Booker Prize. This one just seems interesting, and it's very short. And I really want to read something by Mariana Enriquez because I know she just wrote another one called like Shades of Darkness, Shades of Match, something like that. It had like a really pretty cover, and I also want to read that one. I don't know what it's about, but I heard that it's a very beautiful story that's also very creepy, so I really want to read this. She got very famous for Things We Lost in the Fire, which is another collection of short stories that she wrote, but this one was the one that I saw at Barnes & Noble, so this is the one that I'm going to read first. They're spooky stories that basically talks about fetishes, illnesses, the female body, and the darkness of human history with bracing urgencies. So there's that one. The last so-called spoopy book that I have in here is called Mr. Magic by Kiersten White. Kiersten White is the author of a very infamous, I don't want to say famous, I want to say infamous novel called Hyde, which is a book that was very unliked. But I heard this one was actually a lot better, and even people that did not enjoy Hyde really enjoyed this one, and this has been on my TBR since before it came out. And when it came out, I got it like within like the first few days that it came out because I've just been so excited to read it. But this book is like, picture, if you guys are familiar with like indie horror games, especially if you have like teenagers, Amanda the Adventurer meets like Five Nights at Freddy's ish sort of / Dark Barney. So basically this is about a cast or crew for this famous children's TV show called Mr. Magic. Mr. Magic was a really big show until there was a murder that took place on set. And after that, production shut down, and these kids just went about their lives until they got an invitation to come back and reboot Mr. Magic. And when they get there, the facility is very creepy and eerie, and they feel like they've actually been lured into a trap. So this one just, again, seems so fascinating to me. It seems so creepy. We don't know if there's a supernatural element to it or if it's a thriller element to it, because no one actually knows who Mr. Magic is. Is he a serial killer? Is he a crazy person? Or is he something supernatural? We just don't know. We don't know. But it seems interesting. This is a gorgeous, can we just admire this cover? The next book that I really want to read is Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. This has jumped to the top of my TBR because I am rewatching Gossip Girl, and Gossip Girl has always been one of my favorite, all-time favorite shows. I grew up watching it, and my two favorite characters are Chuck and Blair, and this one has been deemed as like a very Chuck and Blair love story. Like the characters are very like Chuck and Blair-y, and it is about rich people with Chuck and Blair vibes, very Gossip Girl vibes, and say no more. Say no more. And then lastly, but certainly not least, I really want to read Maybe in Another Life by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I have been very obsessed with time loops recently. I have been very obsessed with time slips, alternate realities, parallel universes, any of that. Throw that in there and I want to read it. And this book follows a woman, her name is Hannah. Hannah Martin is basically out, has a nice time on the town, and she goes out with her friends, and at the end of the night she bumps into an old high school boyfriend. So at the end of the night, her friends that she went out with are like, hey, let's go, Hannah. And then her boyfriend from high school also asks her, hey Hannah, why don't you come home with me? So they're both asking her to come home with them. And that's when the parallel realities, alternate universes sort of split. We see Hannah's life, where it ends up based on the choices she makes. So if when she decides to go home with her friends, we follow that timeline and how her life goes as we follow that timeline. versus if she made the choice to go home with her old high school boyfriend, and then we follow that alternate timeline, and how a choice that just seems so small can change your life completely. And it just seems so good. Anyways, you guys, that is all the books that I want to read for the rest of this year. If you guys have read any of these, please let me know down in the comments below which ones you enjoy, which ones you don't enjoy. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell to be notified when I post. I post about 2 to 3 times a week, usually 3 times a week. And yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!